Mm-hmm. So our participants, or maybe our future
listeners.
yes, we would like to tell you about project in European Union, and first of all, it's why it is important to start that or those product activity, or maybe some business activity. And EU funding European projects is like opportunity to better living, or maybe to better wealth, and to understand that besides your current activities, you can do something another. And first of all, I would like to introduce my good colleagues, and PhD in economy is Wojciech Bernovsky, and it can describe us how to act in a platform of European Union products, and what is it and how it can work. And first of all, we have some presentation, and we can give you some visual material. And it is topic of our Zoom is what are European products and how we can we collaborate. Yes, and first a question for Wojciech, what is it product, and is it different between products in the European Union or in another country, or it is the same options, the same definitions, and how it works in the European Union?
Okay, thanks. So thank you for this invitation. And today, as you said, we have just introduction. So we will not speak maybe about details of particular course or how to write project. We'll generally start with the idea why it is important to write projects and what we can learn from this, and maybe what are the European projects. So today it's a very introductory knowledge for us, but for many people it might be something new, and we would like to share this knowledge today. So what are European projects? So basically, European Union budget is working to some extent on so-called programs, which are aiming at solving some particular societal or maybe economic or even research problems. And basically, in European Union, if organization would like to receive like state funding for their ideas or their, let's say, their ventures, they should look for some program which can fund it. And basically, if we talk about European projects, we understand like state or even European Union funded projects. So usually they are operated by separate state agencies of the union member countries. We have now, for us, 27 members of European Union. We have also associated countries like Ukraine, Turkey, which are also allowed to take part in many of the EU programs. So basically, the European projects, the main difference between European projects and what you said about business projects is that mostly they are state funded. And in business, they are mostly privately funded projects. So if we talk about European projects, here our sponsor is state. Or maybe looking more wider, it's European Union. Not business who is sponsoring those projects. And basically, yeah, this is like main idea of European project. This is like state funding for different ventures, a lot of different scopes. It can be societal, economic, research, and even creative industries. Yeah, we'll discuss it later what are types of the programs.
But then, what does mean product?
Maybe
for European Union, what must
project?
What does mean product?
So basically, like project or European project or generally project, we will understand some kind of, let's say, venture, which is usually limited in the time, always in fact, because projects are, what is the difference between projects and typical business activity of organization is that business activity of organization is usually never ending. It's perpetual. And if we take a look at the project, usually projects are limited in time. So we have some problem and we have to solve it. Maybe in 1 year, maybe in 2 years, maybe in 3 years, but the time scope of the project is defined. Another thing, when we talk about the project, this is the main aim of the project is change. So if we take some projects, we want to change the situation which is now. So maybe if the company, like regular business activity, let's say for the school, it might be maybe teaching, yes? But it can take a project to maybe install a e-learning platform to all its courses, or maybe want to build a new building. So usually it's a new venture, which is limited in time, but at the end of the day, it needs to make some change, positive change, of course. And what else? Project, yeah.
I would like to ask you, so if, according to your previous words, first of all, we have to determine some problems and understanding that those sphere, yes? So we must be expert, yes, in that those fields of that those areas, yes, and only after that we can write product, or no?
Maybe it depends, because generally maybe we do not have to be experts, but we have to have some knowledge, at least broad knowledge in the topic. Or even if we are not experts, we have to have access to some experts who can help us in writing some part of the project. But basically we have to have expert knowledge, or maybe broad knowledge, which is maybe a little lower than expert knowledge, but we should at least understand the topic. But you know, the best situation is that we are experts in the field, because then our project can be very innovative, it can bring a lot of value added. So yeah, the most perfect situation is that we are experts in the field which we are submitting. And in some projects, like research projects, definitely we have to be experts.
And if we continue our next slide, we have why is important to start product activity, and we have some elements, yes, to have desire, to have idea, background, visit Erasmus events, develop communication skills. And in your opinion, Wojciech, what is the main, yes, from what we start, yes, to in product activity?
Basically, first thing, we need organization, yes.
Okay.
Because
So
projects are
institution, yes.
Yeah. Yes, because a private person cannot take part in 99% of the project, except maybe some very limited small projects for, let's say, activation of unemployed people. But anyhow, they have to set up an institution to start. Yes. So basically, we need to have institution in which we work, or maybe even better if we own institutions. So but if we are working for some institution, that is also very good. Another thing what you wrote here is to have desire. Yes, we have to know what we want, that we want to enter this activity, and generally have some knowledge about some pros and cons, because it's not so easy always to get project financing. And basically we have to have idea, and this idea must be connected to the problem. So first, two most important things is problem and idea. So the idea has to respond to solving some problem. So basically we find some problem, maybe it can be something about education, or maybe it can be something about society, about economic situation. And once we see the problem must be well known, and it has to be relevant. Then we can try to find the idea of solving the problem. Yes. So.
So first of all, competitive idea, yes or no?
Yes. Yes, definitely innovative, competitive idea, but also responding to the important problem. Because we can find situation where the idea can be good, but there is no problem, or maybe problem is artificial, it's not real. So basically we have to show something, connection. There should be a relevant problem, and basically innovative idea. Of course, innovative idea is the most important, but basically also there should be some problem.
Mm-hmm. And if, example, we have desire, we have idea, we have background of idea, and after that, our next point is visit Erasmus events or events of Erasmus products. What is the role of that point in our product activity?
Yes, basically, because here you point out Erasmus, but it also refers to many other, like Horizon and
Mm-hmm.
other, which we'll discuss later. Yes, it's generally Erasmus is one of the many EU programs. It's even not the biggest, yes, because the biggest would be probably it is European Social Fund. It's the biggest, and then we have Horizon, then we have somewhere else Erasmus. But basically, we are working in university, so Erasmus is
Okay,
together with
so
Horizon.
any events, in any example, social funding events or maybe horizon events, is it need to visit events of such programs, of such product programs, or no?
It's like with conferences in the scientific. You may be working in science without going to conferences, but it's not good, maybe. Yes. So if you visit Erasmus events, especially like maybe there are national agencies of Erasmus or maybe Horizon information points, they organize a lot of conferences. Many of them are online. It's very recommended to. They also give free training. They give all like transparent information about this program. So basically, I would highly recommend to take part in the events organized by national agencies of the Erasmus. Even we took some participation. I think on Friday it was organized by national agencies in Ukraine, and basically these events are very helpful and really they can give you more knowledge about the program. And still, it's better to get this knowledge from some kind of public institutions than to go to some private companies which may give you want you to pay for this information. So they have free information and it's good to start.
Mm-hmm. And the next question deals with it question. Is it need to study how write products, EU products, or no? It is, or it is easy and
Uh,
it is not need to study how it write.
Maybe not exactly study, but it's good to learn. And best learning is by doing it. Yes, so it's like with
Of course,
doing business. So uh, there is a lot of materials in the internet. We will also talk on YouTube about writing, not today, but other days, maybe how to write a good project. And basically, it's good to learn from different sources because, like with every knowledge, yes, even if you have good idea and you find a problem, but you cannot define in words what you want to do because you don't understand the, let's say, the language of the project writing, then it can be hard for you. So definitely some knowledge in grant proposals is required. And yeah, so you should learn it at least to some extent to be successful. And the best learning is of course by submitting them and also by using some online materials.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And what is the role of communication in start product activity, or example, in forming that those products of European funding?
Yes, communication is crucial, especially now in the times of COVID, because most of the activity this project is taking online now. Because we have some transnational meetings, but they are not very often. In some projects, they are even not possible. Uh, but sometimes they are possible. But generally, most of the communication will go through online. Yes, so the Zoom meetings, Skype meetings, and even at the beginning when you start the project, even not start, if you submit proposal, you need to communicate with potential partners. You need to convince them that your idea is good and they want to join it, and later you have to sign agreement, you have to also trust them to send money. Basically communication is very important here, and one of the most important benefits of this project is communication with different partners, because organizations which are active in projects, very soon they can have friends and colleagues in most of the countries of Europe or even the world. So this is important.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most important benefits of project.
And how many partners must be in the those products? So optimal number, how many?
Everything depends on the type of project. In Erasmus Plus projects, for example, strategic partnership projects, maybe it should have 4, but maybe 5. It depends, because we cannot say what is the maximum or minimum, but basically it should be not too less, because maybe this will be a project only between 2 organizations. Sometimes projects are not allowed below 3 partners in most of the cases. And if it's too many, maybe it can be a problem of coordination. But I saw the projects with 2 organizations, and I saw the projects with 17 organizations. But basically, most of the projects are 3 to 6 partners.
So optimal number of partners is 3 or 6. Yes, from 3 to 6, and it's like depend on.
Yes, because still it's not too big, so you can know each other, all of you, and still it's not too small, so there is some kind of international, let's say, added value. So because every country is bringing something to the table.
So our next slide is kinds of EU products. So some kinds of EU products we described with Wojciech, but with you. But in your opinion, what is first type of products in which partners from Ukraine or maybe from EU can start?
Okay, basically, I think there are many of such programs, but I think if we talk about education sector and Ukraine, I would recommend especially Erasmus Plus and Horizon 2020. Of course, there are others, like maybe Creative Europe, which is directed to creative industries, music, art. There is also Europe for Citizens, which is mostly devoted to the society and the history and the heritage. There is also European Social Fund, but European Social Fund is maybe it is the biggest European program, but it will be only allowed to Ukraine after joining European Union, because this is the program for the equalization of living standards between new members and also between poorer and richer regions. So once Ukraine will join European Union, you will see a huge impact of the European Social Fund. Namely, it will be hundreds of billions euro coming to your country. But now the 2 biggest are Erasmus Plus and Horizon 2020. And Horizon 2020 is generally bigger program. It's around 80 billion for next 7 years. And Erasmus Plus is around 24 billion for 2021-2027. And Erasmus Plus main focus is education in different kinds. It can be adult education, youth education, it can be vocational education, it can be higher education, or it can be school education. So there are 5 sectors. And Horizon 2020, it's a main scientific program of European Union, and main goals are to improve state-of-the-art, let's say the most advanced scientific knowledge. But at the same time, the second aim is to start new startup companies which will be competitive in the world. So it's not only scientific, but it's also commercially innovation. So those are the 2 most important points. And basically, Ukraine can take part in many of the calls of these 2 programs.
And so, continue, please.
Not as a program country, but as a partner country. So you have to show the value added of participation of Ukrainian partner in the program, which is also some kind of important thing to show that your organization has some unique value, which is bringing to the table, but not in all calls, because there are some calls which are typically directed at Ukraine, maybe Jean Monnet, maybe capacity building programs, so you don't have to show value added there. But in some other, like strategic partnership, or knowledge alliances, you have to do it.
And if, for example, we describe what is value added of European product from Ukrainian side, from Ukrainian partner. So simply, what does it mean? Value added of Ukrainian partner.
Value added of Ukrainian partner in like broad sense is just you have to show that you bring to the table some knowledge which is rare in European Union. So, for example, it can be some knowledge in the new technologies, maybe virtual reality technologies, or maybe gaming industry. Or it might be something which is important for European Union. You can maybe refer to Eastern Partnership policy, but generally you have to show that you bring something, let's say, to the table which is unique, innovative, and it's very hard to find in European Union.
Mm-hmm. So it's like some very good aspect that in which Ukrainian partner must be well, yes. So it's like sphere in which Ukrainian partners can create, can build most efficiency products, or maybe services, or maybe technologies. Yes, so it's like something that we Ukrainian partner can do best. Yes, in the world, or maybe in some part of the EU. Yes, and
yes, in some part of EU, because
uh-huh.
maybe something which is innovative in Poland might be not innovative in Ireland. Yes, because they might have, for example, more companies in this field. So you have to take a look also at the innovation index, because in European Union some economies are very innovative, like maybe Ireland, maybe Sweden, or maybe Denmark, and some are, let's say, very low innovation, like Poland, Bulgaria, Lithuania. So definitely it will be easier to bring value to these countries in terms of innovation than to the most innovative countries. But at the same time, also you have to take a look at the, let's say, history and tradition. Some national agencies have a history that they want to take third country partners, maybe like Poland, France, and some might have other approach. So it's good to know this, yes, and usually you will get to know it by practice.
So a lot of factors we have to understand for take part in that in program of that or those countries of European Union. Yes. So, example, if we would like to work with France, we must to know education or maybe entrepreneurship sectors of France. Yes.
Maybe your partner should know it, and they will know if you are bringing some value or not. So basically, you should have a good network. So the social capital is important. You have to cooperate with many partners, and they will be also taking you to their projects, and maybe you will bring them to their projects. And basically, you should focus on things which are innovative in the general sense, like maybe new technologies.
And so, in that way, our next slide. If, for example, we have idea, we have desire, after that, what we do? We have some steps, yes, find partners, form team, work with idea, work with priorities of EU, and after that, writing grant form. So how we start in that way? Find partners, how we can do it, form team. So simply, how we can do it?
Okay, the best situation is that we know the partners, because maybe we have been participating in some scientific conferences, or maybe we have some networks, and generally we know them, yes. But this is perfect situation, not always possible. Another way is to look for some kind of networking events, sometimes conferences, where the partners are searching for each other. If we cannot enter such event, there is also many websites, which are run by the national agencies with partners seeking, let's say, sub-websites, or maybe we can look into some kind of Facebook groups where there is like Erasmus plus partner search. So basically, we should use different sources, and internet now is a powerful tool for finding partners, let's say, for our ideas.
Okay, we find partners, yes, and after that form teams. But how we form teams? It's like my idea, I form teams, or my partner must form team. How it can be?
Basically, like, you mean team as a group of organization which will be in the project?
But organization includes different participants, yes, and how we can choose that or those participants?
Basically, our partner is choosing team for its own participation, but leader, of course, can have some recommendation, but usually it's a partner who will decide.
Mm-hmm. And then work with idea. Yes, our next step. So
But basically, if we talk about teams, sorry, it's
mm-hmm.
those people who are preparing the proposal. This is how you, because they know this idea, and this is how you usually work. Those people who work with you, prepare this, they usually are the team of the partner, because they were working when the idea came, they formed the idea, and later, if the project is financed, they naturally are the team members in most of the cases.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and working with idea, what does mean? How we work with idea? We all time must to improve that idea. For example, we add some element of idea. So, what does mean? Yes, in 2 or 3 sentences, what does mean work with idea?
Work the idea is generally to find some concept for our project, what we want to do, what is the problem, and why it is innovative to any other projects which were conducted. So what we are bringing new, yes, it cannot be something just which we saw somewhere else. So the idea has to be innovative, and working on the innovativeness of this idea, the concept, is taking much time. Basically, probably we'll have another video on this because it's a broader topic, but we have to find something which is relevant problem, innovation, good innovation, and well described.
Mm-hmm. And so our steps 3 work with idea, so steps work with idea connected with work with priorities of EU products. Yes. So when we work with idea, of course we have to look, yes, or coordinate our idea with priorities of EU products. Yes. And what is the role, yes, of that step in our product activity?
So basically, each of the programs or calls has some priority, and we have to meet these priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Probably in Horizon, general priority is research, and Erasmus, general priority is education, better education, yes?
Mm-hmm.
But also, they are more detailed priorities. Maybe one priority of the youth sector can be to increase the number of employed young people without education. And basically, we have to read the manual and address the priorities. One of the very popular mistakes of the project is that they do not address the priorities. And you have clearly described how your project is meeting the priorities of the call. This is also a broader topic, but basically it's very important.
Okay, so after that, it's like our important steps. Yes, is a fill grant form. So it's like depend on time. It's like 1 month, yes, or maybe 2 weeks. How many time we need to determine for fill grant form?
Basically, you need a few weeks usually of work for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some other video will show a little how the application form looks, because many people are afraid to see application form, how to put the text. So maybe we can do some practical, because most of people which I know, they like the idea, they want to do work, but they are blocked at the point where they have to put something in the application form. So I think this is also something which is interesting, and of course each application form is different. For Horizon it will be different. For Erasmus, knowledge alliances will be different than Erasmus strategic partnership. And yeah, so this is also some particular technical knowledge, but important.
Mm-hmm. And so in that way, if we finished we will finish our discussion, and your main advice, yes, for people who like to work in platform of EU products, what is it?
I mean, if you generally, if you are living in European Union or living in a country which is associated with European Union, and if you have some organization and your organization is looking for some kind of financing, in my opinion, the best way to finance your ideas and your activities, European Union projects, especially at the beginning, yes, when you, but even not at the beginning, because it brings a lot of added value, a lot of networking, and there are projects which are for the beginners, like maybe mobility or strategic partnerships, which are smaller. And like yesterday, I was discussing with my friend, he's submitting Knowledge Alliances project. It's like 4 million euro. And if we go to Horizon, it can be 10 million euro. So, you know, it's everything for someone. Yes, you can get big financing and also keep your, but financing is one thing, but it brings a lot of innovation. And maybe this is the most important point. By doing this, you can try to innovate. You can try maybe to produce games. You can produce maybe some kind of platforms. And each project we can bring something new to the table. So I would encourage organizations to start project activity, because the number of the projects which are financed by you is huge. Only in the strategic partnership, which is not the biggest action, in last years, 25,000 projects were financed. So it's not something which is very elite and the scope is very big. Yes, 25,000 projects. It means that more than 100,000 organizations got financing. So some of them many times, yes.
So it's like main advice is start to activity, yes, product activity.
Yes, do not be afraid, and the most important is start doing this, because like with business, talking is one thing, and the second is just start your first project, even if it's refused. Don't worry, because if you will keep on sending, keep on doing, you will get financing. Don't be afraid, and there is no such thing as a failure in the project. It's only feedback. So if a project is refused, take a feedback, improve it, send once again. It doesn't cost you much, but it can bring a lot of value. Not only in the money terms, but in the terms of good cooperation with the new partners, and also generally the innovation, which is, I think, the most important. Bringing new innovative products which are bringing our regions to more competitive efforts in the world.
So platform of EU product is very big, and it is opportunity to all, yes, to all groups, to all people, to all institutions to find something in activity that create additional value for all society, for all communities, yes, for all European communities, for Ukraine as example, as partnership country, and in that way, yes, we can say that it's like a lot of opportunity. Yes, first of all, for all institution and for all citizens. Yes, to have better life. Yes, as in result.
Yes. Basically, European programs is something unique. You cannot find such programs on this scale in US, China, Russia, Africa, Asia. This is very unique thing. And even I know many US organizations which I talk, they are very interested because they do not have something like this on this scale. It's a very unique approach of European Union, these programs, and they are based, probably European Union get a success with the Marshall Plan. They saw that this type of, because Marshall Plan was basically based on this type of projects, maybe a little different, but this was a project money. And they see that this type of activity is encouraging the most active organizations which want to do something. And I think as long as European Union is there, one of the main benefits of being part of European Union is to take part in a lot of different programs and get financing for your ideas. So I encourage everyone. Ukraine is an associated country, so you can benefit well from most of the programs, and probably in the future even more will come.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's like our discussion can be. Our discussion can be continued maybe next week or in 2 weeks, yes, in like another our types of webinars. But
yes, then maybe we can discuss more in detail.
Mm-hmm. But if you, our dear guest, if you have question, you can write Wojciech or me to our email. If you would like to receive additional information about entrepreneurship or business, you can come to the blog of Wojciech and receive all information about that aspect of doing business. So I think it's like our result. Discussion in Zoom, and thank you for your time.
And the video will be recorded, so probably you will make it available also on YouTube also on Facebook, so people will be able to take a look at this at the later time. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye.